Hey everyone, this is Lisa from the Rhinestone World, and in this video we're going to be making fun, festive mini rhinestone Halloween decals, and we're going to be able to do all of this using the materials in our Halloween rhinestone craft along kit. So we're going to be using our SS10 rhinestones, our Bling Anything material, and we will set this up and cut it on our silhouette cameo. I'm here in Silhouette Studio. I've brought in the SVG file of all my rhinestone designs. So you'll see as I move it, they move together. So when SVG files come from us, they're all grouped together. So we need to do a couple steps to set this up to cut. So let's right click and we're going to ungroup. So we go right here, right click, ungroup. And so this is going to ungroup the entire design. So that will be the boxes you see here and each individual rhinestone. So depending on what you have running on your computer, it may take a second or two. But you can see that we have little boxes around each one of these circles. So we're going to click off of it and we're going to just deselect it all. So now we just need to get rid of our extras. You'll see with these designs that it has the final product on the side to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to drag my mouse down, bring it over, and I'm just going to make sure I select only these designs. So now I can just delete it, and these are all set here. Now these boxes are set up to be our weed boxes for the designs, and it's really important to keep them the same size because this is how we align our colors so that when we do our rhinestone they're all in the same spot and perfectly aligned. So what I like to do is I like to make them one big object. One, it makes your file size smaller so your Silhouette Studio can run a little bit better. So I'm going to go over here, drag this over, and you'll see I have all of this selected. So you can see I have my boxes and then I have each individual rhinestone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to make it a compound path. So now you'll see that the black is gone because those are basically holes punched out of my template material. So this basically is exactly what my template material is going to look like, and you can see that it's already moving easier. So this is one design, and I'm going to do the same process for the next two designs so that they can be together, but I'm going to cut all of these on this same piece of magic flock. So let's go down here, grab this, and now we can go over, right click, make compound path, and now we just want to go right here, bring this over, make this a compound path, and we're all set. Now magic flock material can be cut without a cutting mat, no problem. For something like this, I'm going to go ahead and use my cutting mat just because I like the extra security of it, and also I like not moving my rollers. If I always use my cutting mat, I never have to use my rollers. So you can arrange your design on here any way you want. I'm going to click on this and use this green dot to rotate my last one so that I use the most amount of space as I can on here. And I like to bring this down just a little bit from the top, just in case I put my magic flock on the wrong way. So let's go over here, and now we're going to set up to cut. So let's go to our send panel. And one thing to notice is that there are no bold lines around this. That's because sometimes when SVGs come in, Silhouette kind of reads it almost like a print and cut file. So let's go over here, turn on cut, and then go right here to cut, and now you'll see each circle will turn red. So that's good. You want to look for those cut lines. Now we need to program our magic flock in here. So let's go to our material. And I have a fresh install of Silhouette Studio. I very recently had to reset my, my computer. So we're going to add new material type. And you'll see this long list here. And we have user defined. So I'm going to right click on new material and I'm going to rename it. I'm going to name it magic flock. And then hit enter. So now we can adjust our settings. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to cut it with my blade depth on 5, my speed at 10, and let me make sure I get over to 5. There we go. And I'm going to put my force around 23. So I would cut magic flock anywhere between 22 and 26, depending on how old your blade is and what machine you are. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 24 to be safe. And then we want to do 2 passes or a double cut. So we have this all set, and now we're going to go over here and save it. And one thing that I am going to do is I'm actually going to set up my design a little bit away from this corner because I'm going to do my test cut before I do my first cut. You can move the point of origin for your test cut so that you don't have to worry about cutting into where your design is, but sometimes it's just easier setting up your design a little bit lower so your test cut is okay. So I'm just waiting for this to save. And so once you have it saved, you're going to go right here, and now you can see I can choose my material. So let's go right here, go to my user defined, and here are my magic flock settings. So you can see my settings show up here. So now I'm ready to load in my flock onto my cutting mat, and then I'm going to hit test cut and check out my test cut. I'm all set up with my Cameo 3. Here is my magic flock material. We have this in 12-foot sections, and I'm just going to be using my cutting mat. So let me go ahead and pull this sheet off of my cutting mat, and I'll just go ahead and lay my magic flock onto my mat. So now you want to line it up with this blue line here, and you want the edge of this roller to be on the edge of your material. So if I'm using my cutting mat, you want it to be in the last notch over here. So we'll go over to load. And the important thing to remember is to use your page settings and make sure you have a cutting mat set into your settings. So we're going to go over, and I'm going to go ahead and do my test cut. My test cut is done. Let's wait for my machine to stop. And now we can unload it. So now we're going to see there's going to be a triangle and a square, and we want the triangle to peel up cleanly from the square, or the square from the triangle. That's really good. I also checked the back to make sure it didn't cut through. So it's a great test cut. So I can go ahead and press send on my design. My cut is all done. I'm going to unload it. And now I can peel my flock off of my mat. And now, because we tested our cut settings, the squares for our material should come right up. So if you look closely, you can see that each hole cut out well. There actually aren't any left over. So I'm just going to kind of bring this up here for now. So this is why you do your test cuts, because if you have your test cuts done, then bringing up your rhinestone templates should really be no problem. So I'm going to finish bringing this up, and then I'm going to bring it over to my rhinestone workstation. So here I have all 6 templates for 3 designs set up here. Here's a look at the little flock sheet, just again so you can see how all those dots are left behind. So that's why you do a test cut. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of these out of here and do one design at a time. So I'm just going to put these to the side, and you can see how each color fits in with the other one. So let me go right here, and I'll start with this pumpkin. So I'm going to move this one over to the side because I'm going to start with the orange part of my little jack-o'-lantern first. So let's set this up. So we have our magic flock right here, and this is a rhinestone workstation. It's really a chalkboard that I got from the craft store. Any flat surface will do for something like this. What you're mainly just looking for is that your stones have a flat place to be, and I like to use these edges to keep my stones under control. So let's go ahead, dump my orange rhinestones. So these are SS10 stones, they're 3 millimeters, and this is orange. So these are all rhinestones available at therhinestoneworld.com. And this is a 10 gross bag, so it's about 1,444 stones. And so that's the size bag that you'll get in the craft along kit that goes along with this project. So I'm just doing small circles. A really gentle touch with rhinestones is all you need. The more stones you put on, the better, because they'll use each other to fall into the holes. So if you have just a couple rhinestones, that's where it gets tricky, because you're kind of just like, I don't know, it doesn't just fall into the spot. You have some trouble with it. So you're just going to brush flat to get some extra stones out from in here. So I had a couple that were in between stones on there, so that's why I did that. Now you can clean up your stones. The first thing I'm going to do before I clean them up is I'm going to put my transfer tape down. So this is acrylic hot fix tape. It's made to withstand the heat of your press. And what we're going to do is this is what we pick up our stones with and put it on our heat press. So you don't want to use the same transfer tape that you use for like decals for cars because it'll melt. So we're going to cut a piece that's bigger than what we have for this because we're going to be using a hinge to layer 2 colors. So let's peel up our transfer tape. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. Some people like to horseshoe. I like to go from the side. So I'm going to smooth it down over here and bring it down. So when you bring your transfer tape down, your hot fix tape, just commit. If you slightly touch it and then move, you'll pick up some of the stones, but not all of it, and then you have to start over. So you don't really want that. So while these are protected by the tape, I'm just going to go ahead and scoop the rest of my stones up. Really easy. And I'm using the Magic Scoop. This is not available in the craft along, but it is available on our website at rhinestoneworld.com. So all my stones are down in my scoop. So now all I need to do is grab my bag that my rhinestones came in. Let's bring the end in here. And so now I can just bring this cork out. All of my stones fell back into the bag. And I can just grab my cork. So I'm all set. So that's the basic process of the first color of rhinestones. So now what we're going to do is we're going to peel up here, but leave this down. This is our hinge. This is our base. So you'll notice one of my rhinestones didn't come up. That's not a big deal. Because we have that hinge there, we can just bring our tape back down, and now we're all set. So let's go ahead and get this. Let's fold that over. Now we're ready for our second color. Now you'll notice these boxes are the same size, and I've mentioned it a few times. This is how you line up your entire design. So you're just going to line the box right up on top of itself. And you'll see you don't see the table through here. That's good, because if you can see the table, that means there was another stone there, which means you potentially have overlapping stones, and that is not what you want for rhinestone designs. So I have my jet black. So this is another 10 gross bag, and these are also SS10 stones. So these are 3mm sized rhinestones. That is, again, your most common size of rhinestone. So let me just make sure I flatten this. All right, so let's bring this over. And again, we're just going to do the same process. And if you have a spot where there's a stone missing, just grab a small pile and bring it back over. Like I said, remember, the stones use each other. So just use the rest of the stones to get each other. All right, so we have this all set. Now we just need to sweep these up. Again, in the scoop. Right, so now this is in the same spot. The tape is in the same spot and my template. So let's just bring this down. Now I have my little jack-o'-lantern. So let's just use that to smooth it down. And now you can lift it up. All my stones came up. So now I'm ready to press this onto my material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my tape right back on this backing that I had with my tape for the template. Now, what I like to do is keep it on here, and then once I'm all done, I store my templates on this paper backing because it's already cut to the right size and you're all set. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the next 2 designs, and then we will be ready to press these as our decals. So I did these together. I can just lift. There's a couple left, so we'll just kind of smooth it down more. All right, so we lift that up. And now you can just drop this back on here. So now I have these 2 designs. and my pumpkin. So I was able to use my jet black for all of them, and for the little moon I did light topaz to give it like a gold look. So we're going to be pressing this onto Bling Anything material. So this is how we make little tiny decals. So you have our Bling Anything material, and this is going to allow these designs to be decals instead of just something we press on a shirt. So you want to press onto the shiny side of this material. So you have shiny and dull, because the dull side is the backing that you're going to peel up once you're done. So let's trim our tape closer. And now we want to lift this up and drop it down onto here. So we have that, and then we'll just continue it with these other two designs. And you want to make sure that your tape does not go past the edge of your decal material. If you do, you can basically melt this whole top, and when you go to peel off this tape, it'll peel the whole top part off the backing. So typically that will damage your decal, unfortunately. So right there. Now we're all set with this. All right, so we have our 3 decals here. And now we're just going to take our Bling Anything and trim it down. So now we're all set to go, and we're going to press these decals. Here I am at my pink craft press. This is available at our website at rhinestoneworld.com. So this press is a 9x12 press, and it comes with a full year warranty. So it's really great for projects like this, and it pairs really well with the craft along projects. So I have it set to 320 degrees. So I'm going to put my cover sheet down first. So when we do this decal, we want to make sure it's covered on both sides. So here are my decals. I'm going to flip them over so that the glue is facing up. So when we do our first press, we want the glue to get the most amount of heat. So let's bring our cover over like this. That way it's sandwiched on both sides. And now we can bring down our press at 320 degrees for 10 seconds. Now let's lift it up. And I used medium to firm pressure with that. So now we have our designs here. So we just want to flip it over. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip my entire sheet like this. Flip it over. And now you want to press this for 5 seconds. So we'll just make sure my designs are on here. And now we're all good. Now after this press, these are going to be very hot, so please be careful. So when I peel this back, you can see my designs are here. And now I can peel up my tape from the decal material. So I have my tape peeled back from the material. Now you want to inspect it. A good press, you'll see little, circles around the stones, little rings around them. That indicates that you have a good press. If it looks like your stones are just sitting on top of it, then you want to try and repress it again. So once this cools a little bit, you can trim out your decal. So there's a small line around here where it's smooth and bumpy. You want to trim on that line to create that decal for yourself. So now we're going to start trimming it. Just going to find that line and trim right around it. And the decal that I'm cutting right now is still a little bit warm, so these things can really retain the heat, so you just want to be careful with it. Right, so I have this trimmed. Now it looks kind of like whitish right there, but that is really just the paper backing. Once we're able to peel this back, you'll see that the decal itself is clear. So you can press this, or not press it, you already pressed it. You can place this on cars, notebooks, anything that's somewhat festive for Halloween. So this is a great project for one of our craft alongs. If you order the kit in the link below, you'll be able to get a 10 gross bag of orange stones, a 10 gross bag of these jet black stones, a 10 gross bag of the light topaz, as well as a foot of magic flock material, a foot of the hot fix tape, and some Bling Anything decal material. So you can easily make these decals just in time for Halloween. So if you have any questions, you can call us or email us at info@therhinestoneworld.com or comment below on this video. Hey everyone, if you like this video, don't forget to click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, this project is available as one of our craft along kits. Find the link below and buy the kit now.